webinar today. My name's Lisa from Careers Wales, and we have Rachel from Airbus HR next to me. So Rachel's going to take you through the Airbus apprenticeships that are available, the higher apprenticeships. Just before we start, I'm going to show you a quick clip that Airbus have provided, and then we'll hand it over to Rachel. So thank you all very much for joining us today, and don't forget to chat any questions that you have into the chat box just below here, and we'll answer your questions as we go through. Okay, thank you. Apologies, just let us sort out a brief technical hitch. We'll get back to you. Fantastic. Hi, I'm sure you've all enjoyed that video. So now I'm going to hand over to Rachel Coleman from Airbus HR, and ready for you, Rachel, to take over. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. So just to introduce myself, I'm Rachel. I do manage all the recruitment for our apprenticeship programs across Airbus Commercial in the UK. So if any of you do go on to apply and come to any of our assessment days, I will be the one hosting them along with my team. So I'm just going to start a presentation. So the idea of showing that video first was just to give you a little insight really into what it is to join Airbus as a company. Of course, we have a commercial operation and we're here to talk about the apprenticeships that we have available within our commercial area today. But also when you join Airbus, you're not just joining Airbus Commercial, we're part of a huge worldwide organisation that covers a variety of sectors. And as you can see, hopefully from that video, you'll see some of the exciting products that we're currently working on. And even from our defence and space area, that we're working on like some really cutting edge technology in terms of satellites, really helping the mission of space exploration. And then we've got also within the defence and space area, cybersecurity and building some of the strongest, most secure networks, which is going to be even more in need as we go on through the future. It's becoming more and more heightened. So it's really, really exciting technology, really exciting product. But focusing a little bit about Airbus in the UK, across the UK we have two sites primarily, so in Broughton in North Wales, which I know a lot of you looking at the schools that have joined today are probably quite familiar with, but also down in Filton in Bristol. Broughton is mainly our manufacturing plant, so here we manufacture all the wings for all the Airbus aircraft. It's quite a huge site. For any of you who've been there, you'll probably realise just how large it is when you've got to kind of travel between different factories that are actually at different entrances, and we have like a bus that does a route around there, so it is a huge area. And just to give you an idea, I know it says on the presentation there that the A350 factory is bigger than Wembley Stadium, and that's just one of the factories we have at our Broughton site, so I hope that gives you an idea of the size and scale of the site up in Broughton. And like I say, we're working on some of the most cutting edge technology within those factories, particularly on the A350 aircraft. So it's really exciting technology that we have up there, and throughout our apprenticeships, as we'll talk from Melissa a bit more later on, but they kind of all really interlink with the different areas of supply chain, finance, and obviously engineering. So it's kind of a world of opportunity within the site and within the company. Down at Filton is mainly our design office, and also fuel and systems and landing gear integration centre of excellence is down there as well. We have apprenticeships available at both sites, and often candidates relocate to take different positions. So kind of if you are interested in a career, make sure you have a look at what we're offering at both sites, because it is slightly different undertaking, and I will talk through that as we go on. So in the UK, the main area of expertise is manufacturing the wings. So for any of you who may live around the Broughton plant, you may have seen the wings taking off in the Beluga, which transports them then to some of our final assembly lines, which are based in Toulouse and Hamburg. But also the wing of the A380, due to its size, it doesn't actually fit in the Beluga, so it's taken by road, rail, and then barge. So some of you may have seen the Airbus kind of lorries travelling around the area, transporting the wings. So hopefully it gives you a little insight into what we do Airbus in the UK. But just referring back to the video, you know, Airbus is not just a UK based company, it's across Europe, across the world, and also with that goes a world of opportunities. People often start their career in Airbus in the UK. I think about 60 or 70% of our senior managers actually started their career as apprentices, but they often end the career in a different area of Airbus, a different area of expertise, so you can have a number of careers within the organisation. So when you join, if you join an apprenticeship, doesn't mean that you'll always have to stay in that area. Airbus is constantly encouraging employees' development to diversify across the different divisions of Airbus, but also diversify across different areas of work. So just before we move on, does anyone have any questions about Airbus that they want to ask at this point? I know Lisa already said that we've also got two undergrad apprentices with us today. So if I've got any questions at this point, please feel free to ask in the chat box at the bottom of your screen and we can answer that. We'll just hold for a minute just in case anyone's typing away there.
Okay, if you do have any questions, then just feel free to type them into the bottom and we'll answer them as we go along. If you don't have any for this section, then that's fine. You can ask questions a little bit later on as we go through the different apprenticeships that are available to you, and also once we meet Jess and Jack, our apprentices from Airbus here today as well. Give you a couple of seconds just to type any questions you do have in.
Well, hopefully that means you all know loads about Airbus, which is really
fantastic.
good.
Okay, we'll move on, but feel free to keep asking your questions because I'll be keeping an eye on them as we go through. Okay, we'll move on then with Rachel. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so just to let you know, our apprenticeship applications are open now. All our undergraduate and sponsored degree apprenticeship applications are open now. Just to touch, in case anyone is interested in our craft programs, the applications for them have just closed, but you can actually go on the website and register your interest in those positions, and we'll keep you updated in terms of newsletters and when we're going to open our next applications. But all the applications for the undergraduate apprenticeships are open now, and they close the 31st of March. Obviously 8th of March today, so not a massive amount of time left to apply, so make sure that if you are interested, you go onto the website. All the applications are available to apply online at airbusgroup.com, and you can also, if you go on the Airbus website and look at apprentices under people and careers, you can read a lot of information about what the apprentices offer in detail, but we will obviously talk through that now. If you want to recap or look at the salaries and things like that, it's all available on the website, so it's a really useful point to mention. And just to talk about the apprenticeship programs, we have a variety of programs available, some of which will provide you with a full degree, some of which provide more vocational qualifications up to degree level. A lot of them do provide professional qualifications, and again, we'll talk through that in a moment, but for example, for supply chain, you'd become chartered. So you can see Airbus are not just kind of bring you in to do a qualification, they want you to have a long-lasting career. So it's a real mix of professional qualifications, educational qualifications, but also personal development as well. They want to develop you as people and employees to benefit the business, but also develop you and your career as well. As you can see then, I did mention the previous slide, 70% of our senior managers started their careers as apprentices. So you can see it's quite a lot of the senior managers start as apprentices, so it's a really good way into the company, a really good entry-level position, and also you've got the benefit of no tuition fees as well, which I know can be quite costly these days with the university fees. So the first apprenticeship we'll talk about today is the Supply Chain Higher Apprenticeship. So this will provide a qualification at level 2 foundation, so and going up to level 3 in logistics, operations and management. As I've already said, you will become chartered, so that would be the SIPS qualification for supply chain. And to apply for this position, you have to have at least 2 A levels at grade B or above, including business studies, as well as 6 GCSEs, grade C and above, including English. So again, don't feel like you have to note all this down now. It is all available on the website, on the apprentice page, but also in the job description as well. If you're applying for this area, what we look for are candidates. You don't necessarily have to have experience in supply chain, but we would really look for candidates to demonstrate an interest in supply chain. It's quite an exciting area within Airbus. If you think about the broad range of products that we work with, all those products are created with a really good procurement and supply chain process. So I know with supply chain, the area and the individuals that work in there, you get a lot of opportunity to travel, obviously develop yourself, learn about the product, work in different environments. So you could go from working kind of office based, then working within the kind of the manufacturing factory areas. And again, it's an exciting area to be involved in. But if you are going to go and apply for that, like I say, we don't expect you to have work experience in supply chain particularly, but you really would look to demonstrate your interest in that area during your application. When applying to any of the programs, you will need to upload a CV, and we also ask you to complete a cover letter as well. And in the cover letter, it's great to demonstrate your interest in Airbus, but we also want to hear a little bit more personal information, you know, why you're interested, why you're motivated to work for the company, not just kind of the facts and figures that are available on the website. Sometimes people have a tendency to include a lot of information about the company, which is good to demonstrate your knowledge, but we really want to hear about you and why you're motivated for the programme and excited to work for the company as well. Does anyone have any questions about the supply chain apprenticeship before we move on to the next apprenticeship? Again, if you do have any questions, if you just type them in the chat box at the bottom, and then we can answer that for you.
Rachel, could I just pick up on something that you said in the about the supply chain apprenticeships? How would somebody demonstrate that they have an interest in the supply chain?
Yeah, that's a really good question actually. So you could demonstrate your interest by having a look at supply chain. You know, there's a lot of information available on the internet and showing that you know a little bit about how supply chain works, maybe some methodologies, or maybe if you can find any information about how supply chain impacts Airbus. I know there's a lot of information available about how Airbus support a number of companies within the UK in terms of they supply us, and the businesses are created from what they supply to Airbus. So kind of any wider knowledge about that, any knowledge about changes in the industry that might affect our supply chain, just to show that you've got a genuine interest in it. It's a really interesting, broad-ranging area. So we're just looking for candidates to show a little bit more about, really show us why you want to apply for that particular apprenticeship rather than just applying for an apprenticeship, so to speak.
Fantastic, but they could learn a lot from your website itself.
Yeah, there's lots of information on the website, like news articles. I think Airbus are quite often in the business news in terms of how we bring a boost to the economy. And I know after Brexit, there's a lot of talk about, where Airbus stay and where they go. And obviously, we're staying, we're investing a lot in the economy. So I feel like, and that has all been part of, the supply chain and how it impacts the different businesses in the local area and across the UK as well.
Okay, lovely. Thank you, Rachel. I'll hand back to you now as well.
Okay, cool. So I'll just go on to the next slide, which is our commercial undergraduate apprenticeship. So we have quite a few commercial undergraduate apprenticeships, and I think people don't often realise just how many apprenticeships we have for business-focused areas, not just engineering. I think Airbus has always been seen as a predominantly engineering company, but that is really changing, particularly over the last couple of years as we've been undertaking these sponsored degrees across a wide range of business areas. So the first one here is the Business Support and Industrialisation Apprenticeship, which is quite a long name, but basically it's a business-focused apprenticeship during which you'll do a full BA Honours degree in Leadership and Management, and also professional accreditation. Again, I've already mentioned this, we do use this for a lot of our apprenticeships now to make sure that we're really getting the development and the professionalism that we want from people entering the company as apprentices. And so to apply for these positions, we are asking for at least 2 A levels, again at grade B or above. We do have a preference in terms of subjects. I guess business focused subjects would be really good, but what I would say, if you're studying A levels and you are interested in a career obviously within aerospace and within Airbus, a business focused career, then you can go online, you can read a lot more information about the entry requirements. But I would say submit your application, we'll review it, really demonstrate an interest in the industry, really express why you want to work for the company. And I probably will say for every apprenticeship details that we talk through, we really want to hear about your enthusiasm, why you want to join the company, why you want to work in the industry, and that kind of thing. But this apprenticeship is business focused, so it'll be based in Broughton, and you kind of go around the Broughton plan, working across different areas. But again, it is business focused, not manufacturing or engineering focused. So it's slightly different than what we've recruited in the past, so more commercial areas. We also have our finance apprenticeship, which will provide you with qualifications up to degree level, and also the CIMA accreditation as well, which for those of you interested in the area of finance, I'm sure you know about CIMA. It's a really, really key qualification. And what I would say, if you are going to apply for this area, make sure that you mention CIMA as part of your application, look at CIMA, see what it is. We really want candidates for this area to apply wanting to undertake that accreditation. It's really important to the apprenticeship and also to the area as well. Finance within Airbus can be quite exciting in terms of, it is obviously, we have a wide variety of finance areas, from cost controlling to accounting, to project management. You can imagine the wide range of products and services that we offer and create as an organisation, and all that is all costly, and it all needs to be managed so carefully. So the finance area is not just a case of coming in and just doing just a sole finance position. You would get experience working across a wide variety of finance areas. So if you are interested in a career in finance but maybe don't just want to go into one particular area of accounting, then it probably is the perfect apprenticeship for you. So for this area, you need to have 3 A levels at grade B or above. It does still have a presentation including business studies, but again, what I would say with these apprenticeships, they are quite new. So if we appreciate that when people maybe select their A levels, you don't always know kind of what subjects will be required for certain positions. So what I would say, if you do have a strong interest in finance and you've studied perhaps maths at A level or other subjects, but again, you can demonstrate that enthusiasm, the interest in a career within the industry and within Airbus, and I would say take the time, go and make the application. Your applications are not just viewed by like a robot sat behind a computer and kind of rejected or screened out on the basis of just qualifications. It is my team who review all the applications. So I would say if you do have a strong interest in finance but maybe not quite got the business subject, but you have done maths or other related areas like accounting or economics, then please go on and make an application, and then we can review that as part of the review process. So does anyone have any questions about these particular areas? Again, if you do have any questions, if you just pop them in the chat box at the bottom of your screen, and then we can answer those for you.
Okay. Brynelian, I think you may have had a question to send over to us. So if you can just type it into the screen at the bottom, go ahead. Happy to answer any questions that you have. It's all great. So send them through. We'll give you a couple of minutes there for yourselves and other people to type in questions to the chat box at the bottom. We can see the questions coming through our end then, and we'll get those answered as well as we can. Okay, thank you very much, Brynelian. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll make the complete webinar available to you online as well. It will be available on Careers Wales YouTube, and we'll send you all the Airbus information that goes with that too. So thank you very much for joining us. Anybody else that has any questions, keep typing them into the screen just below. Hi, Sean. Great question there, Rachel. So would Year 12 students need to wait until next year to make their applications?
So Year 12, so basically you'd have to have completed your qualifications by September. So Year 12 students would have finished in the summer. So as long as we can, so basically you're on predicted grades probably at the moment, so you can apply using your predicted grades, and any offer would be subject to achieving the relevant grades. So so as a Year 12 student, which is second year at A level, you can first year. Okay, so it would be next year. So our application window is always October through till March for our higher apprenticeships or undergraduate apprenticeships. It would be next year you need to apply. So, for example, you'd apply this year to join in September 2017. So it would be the next period you probably need to join. But again, if you are interested in the positions, you can go on the website and there's a spot where you can now register under the Airbus Careers and Peoples link. You'll get regular updates. So we'll send out I think a monthly newsletter just providing a little bit of information about the company and also the apprenticeship program when we're going to go live with applications, any changes that we have, any new areas that we're recruiting into. And it's a really good way if you are interested in a career of Airbus or applying for one of our apprenticeships even, to keep up to date with what's going on in the organisation, and that will really help you when you come to apply and you're looking for maybe a bit of content for your cover letter. Having registered and receiving the newsletters should really help you with that, hopefully.
Okay, that's really useful to know. Thank you, Sean, for that question. And Aled, we've had a question from yourself as well too. So how does the degree link with UCAS? Okay,
so that does vary depending on the programme, and again, if you want in-depth detail, if you just go over to the website, there's a lot more information on there about how they all link in and who the providers are. So just to talk you through the providers, so for the Broughton plant, for the engineering undergraduate programme, which I know we've not talked about yet, but the university providing that degree is Swansea University, which is a really strong, really good engineering university. For the business focused degrees, it's currently Chester University who provide the degree qualification. So again, they are real degrees, and you know, you just basically that you'll be paid a salary. The tuition fees will all be paid for you. You'll do a mixture of office-based work and also day release to university as well, and our education providers in terms of local colleges. So you'll spend part-time kind of purely in education and part-time in the office as well.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Rachel. Sean, another question for yourself, thank you very much, is do you have any apprenticeship opportunities available for students that don't require full A-levels?
So the only apprenticeship opportunities that we have for students that don't require full A-levels would be our craft positions. As I already mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, they have now closed and they'll reopen again next October. And depending on what you mean by full A-level qualifications, some of our areas, so this year for engineering undergraduate apprenticeship, we are accepting BTEC level 3 in engineering. I think it has to be a grade distinction and include advanced maths, but you can, if you have a BTEC qualification, some of our areas will accept that as equivalent. So I know for higher supply chain as well, a BTEC in business would also be accepted as well as an equivalent to A-level. So we do have some flexibility for some programs. But again, if you're unsure how your qualification fits, have a look on our website. We detail everything on there within the job description and also the Airbus apprenticeship pages. And if you're unsure, but you feel like you, like I said earlier on, I think for the finance program, if you've kind of got relevant A-level but maybe not the business studies, then again, if you can demonstrate a really strong interest in the area to which you're applying, then we will consider your application as best we can and move that as forward as best we can. Obviously, you do have to have the minimum qualifications, but where we can work with the universities, then we'll try and be flexible.
Okay, great. Another good question. So would you accept financial studies as an alternative qualification to business studies?
Yeah, we would. Obviously, we have to, when we're going through the requirements process, we have to work with the educational provider. But yeah, I'm sure like financial studies, economics, maths, we could accept that instead of the business studies, as long as you could demonstrate a really strong interest in, like I say, aerospace, the business side of the organisation. So you'd have to put in a strong application with that. But yeah, I'm sure that we would be able to look at that and progress your application as much as possible.
Right, thank you. Thank you so much. Some brilliant questions coming through. So keep them coming through on the chat box just below. I think we're going to move on now to the engineering section as well. So back to you then, Rachel.
Thank you. So I'll just go on the next slide. Okay, yeah, so our engineering undergraduate apprenticeship program, probably one of our most well-known undergraduate programs. It's the original undergraduate program, actually. So this program has been designed to develop high-level engineering skills within the industry. You will, as part of this program, undertake a full BEng degree, so a full honours degree in aerospace engineering. And within Broughton, it's mainly following the manufacturing pathway. In Filton, it's slightly different. It follows a pathway of manufacturing and design. But again, if you want more information on the particular areas that it follows, again, just hop over to the website, and it's got a lot more information on there. Again, like all the apprenticeship opportunities that we've talked through this morning, this undergraduate apprenticeship would also provide you with a professional accreditation, the IEng accreditation, which is well known for those of you who are interested in the engineering area. I'm sure you know about most of the qualifications that are available. And when you join the apprenticeship, one of, I guess, the benefits of completing your studies whilst working within such a large organisation is that you will have people who you work with, who you'll get to know through the training school and in the organisation, who will help and support you, not just through your degree, but also through your professional accreditation as well. You've got the obviously added benefit of the fact that you won't be faced with any tuition fees that will all be paid for, and you'll also receive a salary. So I haven't touched on it yet, actually, but the salary for the higher apprenticeships that we've mainly talked about today is starting at just under £15,000. So I think it's £14,987 to be precise. So it's a really good starting salary when you consider that also all your educational and university fees will be paid for as well. So to apply for the engineering undergraduate apprenticeship, the entry requirements are a minimum of 6 GCSEs, and that must include maths, English and science, and 2 A-levels, a grade B in maths, and a grade C or above in physics. This year, for the first year, we are also accepting applications from candidates with a BTEC qualification in engineering. It does have to be a level 3 qualification at grade distinction. So I know that's not updated in the presentation, but again, if you're unsure of how your qualifications might fit, just take a little bit of time to look through our website. Everything is detailed on there and updated. So this year, just to recap, you have to have the 6 GCSEs, then you can either have the A-level route, which is a grade B or above in maths and a grade C in physics, or a BTEC level 3 in engineering at grade triple distinction. Again, if you're currently coming to the end of your A-level or BTEC studies, you can apply using your predicted grades. And then obviously then we'd go through the recruitment process, and your offer would always be subject to obviously achieving the grades and the minimum qualifications onto the programme. Do you have any questions? Again, if you've got any questions, if you just pop them in the chat box at the bottom. We do have Jess and Jack with us as well, who we'll bring on air in a few minutes, who are currently on our engineering programme. We can talk to you in a little bit more detail about that as well, and share their experience of the application process, what it's really like to be on the programme, and kind of how they found the balance between studying for a full degree whilst also undertaking employment as well.
Great, so if you can type any questions in, we'll just ask Jack and Jess to join us now. So would you like to pop over?
Yeah.
All sitting.
Hi.
Okay. Like this is that's it. Fantastic. So you can see Jack and Jess have joined us today. They're currently going through engineering apprenticeship. If you do have any questions to ask them, just chat into the chat box and they'll happily answer them. So we've got a question there from Sean Gavin. Thank you very much. What would be the balance between time spent studying and time spent working?
Yeah, so I'm in my final year. I work in design, and our programme works at start. We do 1 day a week in university on a Thursday. So if we do the 4 days of the 5-day working week, we're in the factory in placements. So the time spent in uni for us is on a Thursday. So our day consists of a 9 o'clock start through until 5:30 in lectures. And they say for every 1 hour in lectures, you should be putting in 4 hours at home. So that's made up after work in the week.
It's a busy week.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jack. That's really helpful. Is there anything else you wanted to add to that, then, Jess?
All I would say is that, so that's how it is in my year too. We have day release on a Monday, but in first year you spend about 8 months in college full time. So you start in the September, and then you don't actually join the college until you don't actually join the factory until the following May. So that's a good. It eases you in a little bit.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you. So how did you both get into Airbus? What backgrounds were you from?
I'm a local lad. I'm from Flint, so some of my friends and family I knew worked for the company, so I was aware of the company before I joined. I've always enjoyed maths and physics and science and things in school, so I was naturally went into a career in engineering. So being a local employer.
Okay.
So
which school did you go to before?
I went to St Richard Gwyn in Flint.
Lovely. And you, Jess?
I went to Wirral Grammar, so I'm from the Wirral. But I mean, my route took a little longer to get there, but I'm a little older. But it's pretty much the same. I just applied 2 years ago. Yeah. And now I'm here.
Okay, but it's something that you were keen to do and you enjoyed while you were in school as well?
Well, I never did engineering school. I did physics and maths, which I loved. And then engineering was a really good practical vocational way of using both of them. So.
That's interesting. Thank you. Thanks very much. Okay, so keep chatting any questions that you have into the chat box below. It's a great opportunity now for you to speak directly to Jack and Jess and also to Rachel. So we're happy to answer any more questions you have as we're reaching the end of the webinar now. So please keep them coming in on the chat screen just below. So Rachel, how many vacancies do you have at the moment?
So across the two sites, we're going to recruit about 130 apprentices this year, so quite a lot of opportunity in there, spread across a lot of different areas. So what I would say is don't be put off either by the numbers that we're applying versus the numbers that we employ. If you are interested in any of the areas or any of the positions, I would say just go online, make your application like these guys did, and then we'll work through the application process. I think they've got a couple of slides actually about the application process that we'll go through after obviously we've had a chat with Jess and Jack, which will hopefully make people a bit more comfortable with that whole process, because I guess for you guys, was it quite nerve-wracking coming through the application process?
Yeah. Not particularly. Yeah.
Good. Okay.
So evil, I suppose.
Yeah.
We've had another really good question for you as well. So what experience or research did you do to support your applications when you applied?
I did, during my time in sixth form, after I finished year 12, I did a stint in Airbus helicopters, so unpaid work in the summer, work experience. So I got an insight into the company and what went on in the engineering sector. So I think that was able to support my application. So I had experience of working in an engineering team. I also knew the product and the company, so I was able to discuss that in my assessment.
Okay, great. And Jess, you had a slightly different route in. Is there anything you felt helped as well with your application that you've been doing?
So for me, because I was, if I'm 100% honest, I felt like I was quite lucky because I didn't have much experience in engineering before. I knew I was interested in physics and maths, but I didn't have much experience. I think if there's any girls watching, you've got a real advantage being a girl, and you should definitely apply as well, because I think that helps me.
Yeah.
And also,
Great.
I already had my grades that helped me as well, so I knew I could just step on in.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I haven't got a great example of like practical engineering experience.
I don't think you need to. No, I was just going to say as well, like it's great if you have. I'll come back in the game. Hi. It's great if you have got some engineering experience, but if you haven't, don't let it again put you off. You know, we're not expecting people to come to any apprentice program with experience in a particular area, like I touched upon earlier on for supply chain. We don't expect you to come in and having had supply chain experience. It's great if you have and great if you've secured that, but we appreciate for a huge number of reasons that people just aren't able to get work experience that's relevant, or you're not able to take internships. Not everybody has, contacts, or I know the limited number of internships that we offer as a company, so we're not able to provide it to every student who'd like to undertake it. So what I would say is when you're applying, and I know you're using the same kind of words, but just really show your enthusiasm for the company, the industry. You can get industry knowledge by just keeping up to date with changes in the industry, just keeping up to date with the news, with the company. The internet provides a massive opportunity to look at what changes are happening with our competitors, with any projects that we're working on, especially with like defence and space and Airbus commercial. We're going through massive changes all the time. So I would say you don't have to have experience for engineering undergraduate apprenticeship. If you apply and you do any hobbies that reflect your interest in engineering, whether it's kind of you've got a go-kart that you took apart and built back up, or you built your own computer, or you kind of repair things, or just got a genuine raw kind of interest and enthusiasm for engineering, just show that through. Don't feel like a particular example is below what we're looking for. We're just looking for people who've got a genuine interest and have also got the educational requirements to get onto the program, because that's what you'll need. I think you guys probably know from studying your degree and also working that you need that enthusiasm and passion to push you through, because the apprenticeship, it's not easy in terms of it is a challenge. You're completing a full degree and you're also working, but it also has these benefits that everything you're going to be learning at college and university, you're also going to be applying in the workplace straight away. It's not a case of acquiring all the education and having to learn how it works in the real world. You're getting the balance of that. And obviously you're not going to have the tuition fees as well. But so don't let your lack of maybe specific relevant experience put you off. Spend a little bit of time looking and learning about what we do in our organisation in the industry as well, because that can be as strong in your application as any relevant experience.
Fantastic, thank you, Rachel. Okay, so we've got one more question, I think, before we go through to the rest of the application process as well. For Jack and Jess, if we start with Jack maybe, why did you decide to apply to Airbus rather than other apprenticeships or uni courses?
Okay, so when I was in year 13, my final year of sixth form, I did actually apply to 5 universities. I got 5 offers to study aero/civil engineering at some of the best unis around, and I also applied for other apprenticeships. And being a local lad, it was a sort of an easy option, but it was also a good option as well, because I didn't have to pay tuition, whereas a lot of my friends went on to university. They're eating beans on toast for tea every night, and I'm now in a position in my final year. I've been saving for a house, so I'll be looking to move out and buy somewhere next year. So that was a big bonus for me.
It's an excellent opportunity to earn while you're learning as well. So fantastic. And Jess, what made you apply to Airbus in particular?
Well, like I said, my route was like a little bit more convoluted. So I went to uni originally straight from school, and then anyway, 5 years down the line, I've got a 4-year-old daughter. So I wanted to finish uni properly, but I didn't want to. I knew I couldn't afford to go back, like just to put myself through uni. So I applied for Airbus, and I applied for several other apprenticeships as well. And I chose Airbus because it was local, and the National Grid were going to make me. I was going to have to travel to Nottingham I was going to have to live in Nottingham for a week every 3 weeks, and B, because the degree, and they pay for your degree, and that's what I wanted. So fantastic. It's been great.
Fantastic perseverance there, I think. Brilliant. Okay, thank you very much. There's some brilliant questions that have come in there. We're just going to move on now to the rest of Rachel's presentation, and then maybe an opportunity for last minute questions at the very end. So I'm going to hand back to Rachel now.
Cool. We'll keep Jess and Jack here on hand in case you have any more questions. So, just talking about the application process. I know we've talked a little bit about ideas of things that you can include, but just talk about the whole process just so you understand the steps. So obviously you'll make your application online at the Airbus website in terms of a cover letter and CV, and I think we've covered quite well what to include in your cover letter. For engineering undergraduate apprenticeship, some of you will be asked to come and attend a testing event. You'll only be asked to attend the test event if you are on predicted grades, or if you've got a C in physics. If you've got a B in maths and B in physics achieved A levels, then you'll be exempt from the testing days. That's just a short hour-long test that takes place at one of our partner colleges, and it's just to ensure that you have the correct level of maths and engineering knowledge required for the programme. After the testing day, if you're successful, we then go on to review your application again and make our selection for those candidates that we'd like to invite along to one of our recruitment days. At the recruitment day, I would say a lot of people get really nervous when attending them, but we try and make them as informal as possible, appreciating that it is obviously a formal recruitment process. But during the day, you'll participate in a group activity and also an interview. You will also have time to spend with some of our current apprentices, so like you've got to kind of interact with Jess and Jack today. You'll get to do that on the day, just to get a real feel for what it's like to be on the programme, undertaking the degree, work in the organisation, and just get a real feel for what it is like to be an apprentice within Airbus, because it's okay for myself or one of the hiring managers telling you how great it is, what a wonderful opportunity it is, but it's really good to get a feel for what it's like to actually be in that position and undertaking the apprenticeship as well. So we kind of do that, we will roll it into one day, and hopefully it's quite a fun, enjoyable experience. You'll get to meet a lot of experienced assessors on the day, and they can hopefully share with you their career as well. I know at the last assessment day I did recently, most of the assessors who were there on the day had been within the organisation for 20 plus years, so hopefully that just kind of demonstrates to candidates coming to the recruitment days just how kind of long your career can be within Airbus, and within that kind of length of career you can have different careers in terms of different parts of the organisation, so Airbus Commercial, Airbus Defence and Space, but also in different areas. I know people now work within human resources, with myself, started their career within engineering and finance, so it can be quite a wide variety of opportunities available within one organisation. After the recruitment days, we have our offering and onboarding process, which is basically just where we take you through the security clearance process, and also through any relevant medical clearance that is required prior to your starting. So it's quite straightforward. So all our applications close the end of March. We'll then assess through April and May, and then we would start then in September. Okay. So we'll take questions on this in just a second. Okay, so just a few helpful hints, because I'm conscious that we're going to be stopping the presentation just shortly. Just on the screen, it's just common sense really. Make sure that you apply before the closing date, because you wouldn't believe the amount of emails we get after the closing date asking us to accept applications. Make sure that on your application you've got no spelling or grammar, just like little mistakes like that. And if you do come to one of the recruitment events, just make sure you know where you're going, what time you need to be there, and you can prepare a little bit in advance, know a little bit about the company and the apprenticeship that you're applying to. Any more questions? Got time for any more questions?
I don't think we have time for any more questions at the moment. We've got one more very, very quick one. Would language A-levels be useful?
Yeah, they are. Obviously, we have the key A-levels required for each business area and each, depending kind of what apprenticeship you're applying for. Luckily, the business language is English. For most of us in the UK, that's really lucky. But obviously, any other language is seen as a real benefit when you're working in such a transnational organisation. So yeah, that's really useful.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so we've come kind of to the end, so I just wanted to say very, very big thank you to Jack and Jess for joining us today and for answering the questions. Some really great information that you managed to send over as well, and also to Rachel. Thank you very much, Rachel. So if I could just pop in now, we're going to have one very last minute poll. Thank you. We've just got one last very exit poll for you, very, very quick one here. If you could bear with me. Okay, so if you wouldn't mind just clicking very quickly on the questions there. If you scroll down, please. There's 5 questions. Just click on each one. That'd be fantastic and really helpful. And thank you so much to all of you for joining us today as well. Just to say again that the webinar will be made available to you on YouTube. So we'll send you the Careers Wales YouTube link and the Airbus information that goes with that as well. Thank you so much to everybody, and thank you for answering the questions. I'll give you a few more minutes just to send those answers through. So just scroll down there, you'll be able to see a couple more questions. There's 5 very, very quick ones, and then we'll say thank you. Fantastic. Brilliant. One last question at the end, and then I think we're done. Okay, brilliant. Thank you, everybody. Thanks very much. Thanks for joining us today. Thank you from Careers Wales and also from Airbus. Have a lovely afternoon, and we're going to sign off now. Bye-bye.